because we've had a lot of experience playing a lot of different RPGs, I wanted to ask you a couple of things in regards to the actual genre. What do you think makes a good RPG, and what elements do you think keep us coming back to that genre?
It's a great question, man. So for me, like I thought about this over and over again, and I was like, okay, what is, if I could just narrow it down to one thing, right? Because I could talk on for days of why I think the genre is fantastic, but I think that you have to have a relatable antagonist. I think you have to have, right. Antagonist is the hero, right? Or is that protagonist? Which one's the hero?
Protagonist.
Okay, you need a relatable protagonist. You need someone who you can feel for and relate to in various ways, right? So, like let's just, because we talked about Final Fantasy VII so long, let's just bring Cloud back up again, right? Cloud, is in essence someone who deals with imposter syndrome. He doesn't know who he
Hmm.
is. He doesn't know where he fits in. Um, and I gotta tell you, man, even as recently as going to Magic Con, like I'm up there talking to people about Magic the Gathering as someone who barely can remember his own triggers. Like that. I
Hmm.
feel for Cloud. I get that, right? So I think what it boils down to is you need to have a protagonist who you can relate to and you can feel as if you're a part of their journey.
Hmm.
It's not a JRPG obviously, but you think of like Joel from The Last of Us.
Right.
As a dad, dude,
Hmm.
I'd have burned the world to the ground if you had killed Sarah, right? Like I get
Hmm.
where he was coming from. I understood why why he made the decision he did to save Ellie at the end of the game. And I think that's what, like, you get invested into that guy, like, and when it's done right, it's done really right. So Ghost of Tsushima, I know that you're not too familiar with the Ghost of Tsushima and Ghost of Yotoi games, but Ghost of Tsushima did it right. Ghost of Yotoi did it not right. Like it was like I didn't give two fucks about the main character in Ghost of Yotei, whatever you pronounce it, right? But I was certainly attached to the guy in Ghost of Tsushima because I felt for him. I related to him,
Right.
and they did a good job fleshing out that character. So because if it's literally what RPG, role playing game. So like I have to be attached to that person if I'm going to go through their journey, and I think to me that's the most important element of a game. You can give me a shitty story, but if I have a great protagonist and someone that I can live vicariously through,
Hmm.
I will push through that game for that character.
Yeah, that's it's. I agree. I think for me, like I look more like along the lines of immersion. I want a really good story that's gonna draw me in and hook
Yeah,
me and keep me like, get its claws into me or whatnot. So I look for the immersion. I look for like the world building. Like I want to give a shit about this 100 hours I'm about to commit. So like for me, like that's what it is. It's like the story, it's the narrative. It's also like one of those things where I like story, and I think Claire Obscure did such a great job. I like a lot of the stories where like as you progress, you have more questions. Like they just kind of slowly drip
yeah,
feed you information, and they're respecting the gamer's time, of course, but they're also challenging our intelligence. Like, can you figure it out? Can you, connect the dots? Like, are you like just are you just consuming it as we're giving it to you? Are you putting together your own hypothesis about what's going on? And that's how I like to think. I like to, play games in chunks. Like when I was playing E33, I really liked the structure because it was act one, act two, act three. And after each act, I kind of like sat with it for a little bit and was like, okay, where do they go from here? Like, what's next? Like, how do they do this? Like, I still have more questions. Like, what's going on? So if you can get me a good story that's gonna hook me in, and if you get me to give a shit about the world that you're creating, you've
yeah,
got me. Like the relatable protagonist, yeah, I totally get that because you want to care about the people that you're playing with, which is why Final Fantasy VIII is so important to me because I do really care about Squall. I think he is the best character in the entire game, but there's a lot of RPGs that I have played where the main protagonist is not the best character in the game. Like Final Fantasy X, I love Tidus, but the best character in that game is Yuna, and I don't think there's
yeah.
any
I agree.
argument. It's her story, right? Final Fantasy VII, I love Cloud, but to me, the most interesting character in that game is Aerith. Um, I even like Red 13 more than I like Cloud. So sometimes they hit like they'll give you a really good protagonist. Um, but then again, sometimes like the supporting cast is better, so I can kind of like not care too much about the protagonist. Like I played Final Fantasy 13 not to completion, but I got very close to the end. I didn't really like Lightning as a character, but I did really like Hope. Hope was an interesting character to me because he had that struggle of like the whole thing with his mom and Snow and everything like that. So like he was a very interesting character to me. And then obviously I found out that it doesn't really end up good for him. Like with Lightning Returns and Final Fantasy 13 2 and all this other shit. Like it didn't really end up great, but yeah, I'm not so hell bent on the good protagonist thing. I just want a really good story. I want a world that I can care about, and also like I think like it might sound petty, but like your combat has to be good. Like if you have really shitty combat, because especially like with most of the RPGs I've played, it's all about random battles. Like Clair Obscur didn't do random battles. Chrono Trigger didn't do random battles. Final Fantasy 16 didn't do random battles, and 15 didn't do random battles. So like when you can see your encounters on the open world and you have the option to avoid them, maybe your battle system doesn't have to be that great because I don't have to repeatedly fight. But when you have random encounters, your battle system better be good if you're going to force me to fight all these freaking characters all the
That's
time.
fair. Yeah.
So I look at it that way, and like they've done a good job. Like I love the battle system in 10. I love the battle system in 8. Like if I have fun fighting all these random creatures like for the sake of the grind, then you've kind of got me like with the whole combat loop. But I would say that good story, a world that I can care about, and a good combat system. That's probably the three key elements that I would look for in a great RPG.
No, those are great answers. And honestly, I mean, there's so many different elements that need to come together for it to be a great RPG. And I think that's again, man, that's what makes Final Fantasy so special is that they've hit it so many times. Like, have they hit it to perfection on every one? No, but um, like I just think for us to be sitting here and talking about 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 16, the original, all this kind of stuff, like um they figured out the blueprint of making a great video game, which is even more frustrating when they stray away from their own blueprint and they fuck it up, like that's it. Just, I don't know, to me, like I think that they can still be the gold standard. They just need to go back to what works. So I don't
Yeah,
know,
I
maybe
think
who knows, maybe they'll hire us to develop Final Fantasy 17.
oh,
Well,
man, from
we
your lips to God's ears.